Joining us now is Stagwell Group President and former senior advisor to the Clintons, Mark Penn. Mark, good to see you this morning. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you.
Your reaction to all that took place last night, the president describing this as a humanitarian crisis, and the Democrats' response.
Well, first, I think it's more civility, even though it was a tad bit of name-calling, more civility than we've seen in politics for quite some time. I like that America got to see the issues right before them. And, of course, I think most of the voters are scratching their heads and say, come on already. We know there's a deal here. Just do some DACA for some more border security, give them a barrier, not a wall, get this over with, have it make sense. And I think the public's sitting right there looking at the politicians. There are no winners here. There are only losers.
I don't know about civility. I mean, Nancy Pelosi said that the president gave misinformation and even malice in her response last night. I'm wondering if the American people are going to get upset at both parties because they just cannot come together. I mean, Democratic leadership responded to the president's address. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, with their own rebuttal to the president, disputing that need for the southern border wall. Watch this, Mark. Got to get your reaction.
Sadly, much of what we heard from President Trump throughout this senseless shutdown has been full of misinformation and even malice. The president has chosen fear. We want to start with the facts. The fact is, on the very first day of this Congress, House Democrats passed Senate Republican legislation to reopen government and fund smart, effective border security solutions. But the president is rejecting these bipartisan bills, which would reopen government, over his obsession with forcing American taxpayers to waste billions of dollars on an expensive and ineffective wall, a wall he always promised Mexico would pay for.
Make no mistake, Democrats and the president both want stronger border security. However, we sharply disagree with the president about the most effective way to do it. So, how do we untangle this mess? Well, there's an obvious solution. Separate the shutdown from arguments over border security. There is bipartisan legislation supported by Democrats and Republicans to reopen government while allowing debate over border security to continue. There is no excuse for hurting millions of Americans over a policy difference. Federal workers are about to miss a paycheck. Some families can't get a mortgage to buy a new home. Farmers and small businesses won't get loans they desperately need.
Mark Penn, I wonder why we're not hearing the explanation of why Chuck Schumer voted for a wall or some kind of fencing back in 2006. In fact, the list of those who voted for that back in 2006 is Chuck Schumer, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, Dianne Feinstein, all voted for some kind of fencing back in 2006, a secure fence, they called it. Why are they opposed to an upgraded barrier now?
Well, I think that's the toughest thing for the Democrats. We are talking here about less than 1/1000th of the budget. In '95, when I worked with President Clinton, we were talking about hundreds of billions of dollars of Medicare, Medicaid, education, and the environment. Everybody knows this is mostly politics, and the Democrats don't want to give President Trump a win on anything. And I think that's unfortunate because I think the Democrats could have come into office here, said, look, those Republicans you threw out, they weren't getting anything done. We're going to make some great deals here. We're going to get things moving for America. And I don't think they're winning with this position that everybody knows is more about politics than the barrier itself.
Yeah, and Dagan, let me bring you in here because Chuck Schumer back in 2009 said this: 630 miles of border fence made our southern border far more secure because it created a significant barrier to illegal immigration. That was a quote from Chuck Schumer in '06.
But this is not, Maria, you're right, and about the 26 Democrats that voted for the Secure Fence Act back in 2006. But this is not about the reality on the ground, the reality at the border. This is about politicking at its worst. And Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi both know, to quote Bill McGurn in the Wall Street Journal yesterday, that President Trump has to avoid losing a fight that he did pick. And that's the way it appears to the American people, and they know that. There is compromise to be had, but I think it's on the president at this point, maybe today, to put something on the table like protection for the Dreamers, protection for people with temporary visas like Haitians that are going to lose that protection in short order. There's your compromise. Put it out there and see if the Democrats will vote against protection for Dreamers.
Would that do it, Mark Penn? What do you think?
Well, I think that's implicitly been on the table. I think she's right. The president's got to keep the ball rolling. He's the one that more people blame than the Democrats at this point, because he's the one who said, hey, I'll take the shutdown. So he affirmatively is getting the blame. Look, there are no elections right now. He can hold out. But he's not winning. They're not winning. He's got to keep the ball moving with compromise. I think she's right. I think he should put that explicitly on the table.
Meanwhile, I spoke exclusively yesterday with J.P. Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon. He commented on the shutdown and what J.P. Morgan is trying to do to help those furloughed workers. Watch this.
I'm not a politician, and I'm not, and I feel terrible because there's 800,000 people aren't getting paid, and that becomes cumulative. Remember, businesses don't get paid, things don't get paid, and you should know that J.P. Morgan immediately put out plans to help people who are hurt. So if you're one of those folks out there and you're a J.P. Morgan Chase client, we're going to help you. Call in, and we're going to get you some help deferring payments.
So if you're not getting paid and you're a J.P. Morgan or a Chase customer, you're going to help them?
We'll defer payments. We'll not charge fees on certain things. We'll help you through.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal. And so the shutdown's not good. But my bigger complaint is that America, maybe because of partisan politics, has been unable to do a lot of things that need to be done.
So J.P. Morgan among the first to say this, but the private sector may very well get involved here, because that's the whole thing. I mean, it's frustrating to see these two sides not be able to work for the American people, Mark.
I mean, I think that's exactly the point. I've always, and look, when I worked with President Clinton, we made deals. Newt Gingrich and President Clinton fought each other on the air in worse terms than you saw last night, but they got things done for the country. That is what the country wants. Intransigence here on either side is not going to be a winner, even if it pleases the bases. The bases are already voting for who they're going to vote for.
Yeah, real quick on 2020. I mean, 2020 is on. This is what this is also largely about. We understand Tom Steyer may be joining the race. Your thoughts right now on what we see and who's lining up for the Democratic Party?
Well, look, I've said to watch the 3 or 4 Bs here. You know, watch for Biden. Watch here for Beto to come on. Watch here for Bernie, and see whether Bloomberg shows up with $1 billion check here. I think the race is unformed. I think former Vice President Biden has a bit of an edge, but no one really is winning this race. It's just the beginning. The biggest fear is that we will drive the Democrats to even more intransigence and further to the left. And if that's the case, then of course, that won't be good for the party long term in terms of winning the rest of Congress and or the presidency.
But this is the first test, this border wall, to see how these two sides are getting together. Is this going to be the next 2 years of constant fighting about anything?
Well, that's what we're going to see. Look, we had 2 shutdowns in 95, 96. The fact that there's a shutdown, this thing is not over. Let's see where this goes. If they can come together, then it will be a win for the country. If they can't come together and it's 2 years of intransigence, don't kid yourself. These voters will get as mad at the people they just put in as the people they threw out. They want results. They don't want resistance.
I agree with you. Mark, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks so much.